In the year 1099, Jerusalem was burning. The holiest city in the world had turned into an inferno of fire, smoke, and blood. The walls trembled under the impact of catapults, while thousands of men died in the narrow streets of the holy city. The sky was covered in black smoke. The smell of iron, ashes, and death filled the air. But for many of those warriors, this was not merely a war. It was a divine mission. Years earlier, Pope Urban II had made a call that would change human history forever. Standing before kings, nobles, and desperate crowds, he summoned Christendom to reclaim Jerusalem. And Europe answered. Thousands abandoned their homes. Families were left behind. Entire kingdoms mobilized. Some sought wealth. Others desired glory. But many truly believed they were fighting for the will of God. And so the Crusades began. Armies crossed deserts, mountains, and oceans, carrying the symbol of the cross upon their cloaks. The closer they advanced toward the east, the more it felt as though they were entering a land both sacred and cursed at the same time. When Jerusalem finally fell, the violence was absolute. Medieval chroniclers described streets covered in bodies, churches burning, temples destroyed, and soldiers walking among corpses beneath a sky consumed by smoke. But even after the conquest of the city, one problem remained. The roads of the Holy Land were still dominated by chaos. Christian pilgrims were attacked in the desert. Caravans disappeared. Bandits and enemy armies hunted defenseless travelers. And it was within this scenario that a small, silent brotherhood emerged. 9 knights. Only a few men who would give birth to one of the most mysterious organizations in history. They presented themselves as protectors of pilgrims, but there was something strange about them. Their faces rarely showed emotion. Their behavior was rigid, silent, disciplined, almost frightening. Dressed in cloaks marked by the cross, they took vows of poverty, obedience, and chastity. They slept little, prayed constantly, trained every day, but unlike ordinary monks, they also learned how to kill. Thus the Order of the Knights Templar was born. As the years passed, the order grew rapidly. New members arrived from across Europe. Nobles donated lands, kings offered protection. Gigantic fortresses began to rise throughout the Holy Land. Castles erected upon mountains, deserts, and coastal regions. Within those walls, there were arsenals, horses, secret documents, and vaults overflowing with wealth. But there was another detail that made the Templars even more mysterious. The first knights had established themselves near the ancient Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. And according to ancient accounts, they spent years carrying out secret underground excavations. No one truly knows what they were searching for. But after those excavations, something changed. The order became more powerful, richer, more influential. Some believe the Templars discovered ancient documents hidden beneath Jerusalem. Others claim they uncovered forbidden knowledge. But the most disturbing theories suggest something even greater. Sacred relics, objects believed to have been lost for centuries. The Ark of the Covenant, the tablets of Moses, Aaron's staff, the sacred manna, and even the chalice used by Christ at the Last Supper. There has never been definitive proof, but the rumors spread across Europe, and the greater the mystery became, the greater the order's power grew. The Templars began controlling gold, trade routes, and strategic fortresses. They created a revolutionary financial system for the era. Pilgrims could deposit wealth in one European city and withdraw its equivalent in the Holy Land. It was something unimaginable for the medieval world. While kings waged war against one another, the Templars accumulated influence. Kings became dependent on them. Nobles entrusted their fortunes to the Templar vaults. Armies required their support. The order was no longer merely religious. It had transformed into a military, political, and financial power. On the battlefields of the Crusades, the Templars were seen almost as supernatural warriors. Wearing black, white, and red cloaks, they charged directly against enormous armies. They marched in absolute silence. Even surrounded by fire, rain, and blood, they continued advancing. Many died, but they rarely retreated. And while the world saw only religious knights, something far greater was unfolding in the shadows. Secret meetings began taking place within underground fortresses. Silent councils decided political alliances, trade routes, military movements, and perhaps the protection of relics considered too dangerous to fall into the wrong hands.
The Templars began constructing a gigantic naval fleet. Massive ships crossed the oceans transporting gold, documents, and sacred objects. And then another theory emerged. According to some accounts, part of the order realized that its downfall was approaching. Kings were beginning to fear the Templars. Too much power, too much wealth, too much influence. And when an organization becomes more powerful than kings, conspiracies inevitably arise. Meanwhile, mysterious Templar ships crossed the ocean during violent storms. Some believe they carried treasure, others believe they carried sacred relics. And there are those who say they were sailing toward the unknown, perhaps toward the Americas. Centuries later, stories began to emerge in places such as Oak Island in Canada. Underground tunnels, ancient symbols, crosses carved into stone, reports of buried treasure. It was never proven, but the mystery remains alive. Because the more time passes, the harder it becomes to believe that such a powerful order simply vanished. And then, the beginning of the end arrived. In France, King Philip IV was deeply indebted to the Templars. The order controlled too much wealth, too much influence, and fear slowly transformed into persecution. Secret meetings took place inside royal palaces. Nobles and religious leaders conspired in silence. Meanwhile, the Templars continued praying within their fortresses, unaware of the scale of the betrayal approaching them. Then came the dawn that would enter history forever. Friday, October 13th, 1307. Under rain and storms, French soldiers marched silently through the streets of Paris, carrying sealed orders. Templar fortresses were surrounded simultaneously. Gigantic gates began to tremble under the impact of battering rams. And then, the invasion began. Corridors consumed by fire, swords clashing, blood running across the stones. The Templars fought, but they were vastly outnumbered. Hundreds were captured, chained, dragged into underground prisons. And then came the interrogations, the torture, the accusations, heresy, blasphemy, demonic rituals. Under extreme pain, many confessed to terrible crimes. But to this day, historians believe that much of those accusations were fabricated to destroy the order and seize its wealth. Even under torture, many knights refused to betray their brothers, and then only one man remained, Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Templars, imprisoned, weakened, but still defiant. On the night of his execution, crowds gathered in Paris as the flames rose toward the sky. And according to legend, before dying, Jacques de Molay pronounced a curse, summoning the King of France and the Pope to answer before God. Months later, both were dead. And then began the greatest mystery of all. The Templar treasure vanished. Ships disappeared from the ports. Relics were never found again. Documents disappeared without a trace. While Europe believed the order had ended, surviving Templars gathered secretly within underground chambers. Small groups fled carrying gold, manuscripts, and possibly objects considered too sacred to be destroyed. Black ships vanished into the ocean, and perhaps they reached unknown lands. Some believe the Templars buried their treasures on remote islands. Others claim that part of the order survived in hiding for centuries. Then new societies began to emerge, discrete groups using symbols, rituals, and structures similar to those of the ancient order. Historians have never found definitive proof of a direct continuation, but the theories survived. The idea of a secret brotherhood crossing through the centuries, watching the world from the shadows, waiting. As modern empires rose, Templar symbols continued appearing in ancient churches, forgotten manuscripts, and underground structures. New York, Paris, Rome, London. Great cities built upon layers of history and perhaps upon ancient secrets. Beneath the concrete and steel, theories speak of forgotten tunnels, hidden temples, and silent societies still active today. Imagine for a moment a hidden underground temple beneath New York. Men dressed in black, walking through corridors illuminated only by candles and dim lights. Ancient symbols carved into stone, relics protected for centuries. And then, silently, they emerge. They blend into the crowd. They walk among thousands of people unnoticed. No one imagines who they are. No one recognizes the hidden symbols, but they remain there, watching, waiting, because perhaps the Templars' greatest secret was never gold or lost relics. Perhaps it was their ability to survive their own destruction. And that is the reason why, even after more than 700 years, the Order of the Knights Templar remains surrounded by fascination, fear, and mystery. Because deep down, the question still remains alive. And perhaps that is exactly what makes the Templars so fascinating even today. Other medieval orders disappeared. Entire kingdoms collapsed. Armies were forgotten. But the Templars remained alive within the human imagination. Films, books, documentaries, legends, symbols hidden inside ancient cathedrals, crosses carved into abandoned fortresses, stories about secret tunnels beneath historic cities. The more time passes, the greater the mystery becomes. Some researchers believe that part of the Templars' knowledge was never publicly revealed. Others claim that ancient documents disappeared from church archives over the centuries. There are even reports of medieval structures aligned with stars and geometric patterns considered far too advanced for their time. Coincidence or hidden knowledge? No one knows. But the fascination remains, because the Templars seem to occupy a unique place in history. They were monks, but also warriors. They were religious men, but controlled enormous wealth. They swore vows of poverty, yet accumulated enough power to threaten kings. And perhaps that was exactly what condemned them. The order grew too quickly, became too powerful, too influential. And when it finally fell, it left behind far too many questions. Where did the ships go? Who took the treasures? Did the relics truly exist? Did the survivors manage to escape? Does Oak Island hide a Templar secret? Did later secret societies inherit part of their knowledge? And above all, if some Templars truly survived within the shadows, how many centuries did they remain hidden? Perhaps there will never be a definitive answer. Perhaps part of the truth vanished along with the destroyed castles, the burned manuscripts, and the ships lost at sea. Or perhaps the truth is still hidden, waiting to be discovered. Because certain stories never disappear, they simply become legends. And few legends have survived as many centuries as that of the Knights Templar. Did the Templars truly disappear? Or did they simply enter the shadows of history, waiting for the right moment to return? Some mysteries were never meant to be forgotten. Ancient civilizations, forbidden scriptures, lost worlds buried beneath history itself. What if the Bible contains secrets humanity still cannot fully explain? Welcome to Echoes of Revelation, Explore the unknown.